Hi there. So, you want to check out a country property to buy, and you look at the size of the house and you look at price per square foot. Well, when you're looking at country, price per square foot doesn't mean anything. The house can be a tear down, the house can be quality built. It doesn't really matter. What matters the most is the land and all of the pieces of infrastructure that is on the land. For example, isn't this cool? This is where you ride your horse, tie them up. Little piece of history right here. We have two locations for your horses before you bring them into the barn. Now we're on a 5-acre property in North Auburn. These are some of the things that add value. This owner has a large RV. There's room to park the RV. It has a gracious driveway so you can get the RV in to park it on the property. And this is the other thing that would have value to many people who have RVs. We have a hookup here, and we also have a clean out, which really makes having an RV so much easier. Now, there are two generators on this particular property. One is at the house, and the other one is set up here for the well. So you will not run out of water when there's a power outage, if there is one, or a storm, and you could still work your well being pumped up to the house if you have an extra generator. Also, the pavement here all adds up to a cost. This retaining wall, it's very attractive. It's also quite functional. This particular property has exceptional drainage. Now, we've just come out of weeks and weeks of rain. There were never any puddles on the pavement here, on the land. There was an engineer who designed this property, I bet you. It was an engineer, or they hired an engineer to handle the drainage, because the property goes all the way up the hill here. We see a lot of fencing. All of that vinyl fencing adds up in value. Now, there are 3 pastures to this property, and they're all irrigated. The irrigation starts next week. There's half a miner's inch of NID irrigation. That is so cool to have an irrigated property from NID. There's a half a miner's inch, and it starts next week, and it goes all the way until October, during the hot months of the year. Extra things. Here's a gate. All the gates that are on this property add to the value of the property. We have irrigation down here. And this is our barn. Our barn has 3 stalls in it, and we're going to go in, saying hi to the neighbor there. And the barn stall right here has a door that opens up. Remember when Mr. Ed had his head out of half of the stall, and he'd always talk to you? Anyway, and this area out here are the possible areas for the run. So what is a run? You have a stall for your horse, and then your horse can go outside in a run where they can be out, like a little patio for a horse. And this area also is covered. We have a brick floor, which is quite fancy for a barn. There is some water here with a sink. And not only do we have 1,140 feet of this barn, we have 2 tack rooms. Look at the storage in here. A great place to put all of your gear for your animals. You Could have horses in here. You have goats, sheep, some more storage here. And one of the nice things about the design of this traditional barn is the fact that it has skylights in here. This white fiberglass type of material lets natural light come into the barn without turning on any electricity. Here's tack room number 2 with a window. And overhead lighting. Now we expect that when we think of a house, but we don't think about all these little details to the barn. We also have another pull-up door to the barn. That was where we started our video right there, where we'd get our horses' reins and tie them up. So let's go and see what the run would be like. Once again, we see some fine drainage from the hillside coming down. And if you were hosing off your horse, you would have an opportunity to do it in this covered area. So this covered area here, if you were to put these gates back up, this would be your one run for horse number 1. Right behind the firewood. We'd have a run right here for horse number 2. And for horse number 3, we'd close this off and we'd have a space here for your 3rd horse. All of this adds up to value, to cost, and country buyers will see these extras of having a shaded area here for your animals. Lots of gravel. Oh my goodness. All of this gravel adds up. We have a gate to the street. And this sand area is an area that once was a small arena that once had some fencing around it. These folks don't have horses, so they haven't used this area here. Now, besides the barn, which is 1,140 square feet, we have this additional unit. This additional unit, I call it the 2-car garage, but it really is a great opportunity to be a workshop. And I'm sure it was a workshop one time before. And this is 1,040 square feet. Come on in and check it out. Woo! Look at all of this space. My goodness. Someone said it would be their craft room. Well, it would be a pretty fancy craft room. But look at this vehicle in here. It's not even to the end of the structure. You could store your boats in here, your riding lawnmower. You could have your shop set up. Once again, we have these skylights bringing in natural light. We do have overhead lighting. And I think this structure was probably built 10 or 15 years ago, after the house was built. We have a window, just a next extra little treat to this particular space. So, you've got a shop. It's a 2-car garage, but it's really more than just a 2-car garage. What would this structure cost today for you to build it? And my guess would be about $50,000 to build this structure right here. Now, some people say that homes sell by the woman walking in and seeing the kitchen. But in country property, sometimes it's the case that there's a shop space like this for the man who has extra cars, likes to do woodworking, is a contractor and has lots of tools, just so many uses for this extra bonus space. Now the question might be, is this livable space? And the answer is no. In order for it to be livable square footage, it has to have heat and air and needs to be insulated. So if I were working out here woodworking, I'd have a portable electric heater, and I would keep myself warm while I'm working, whether it's late at night or in the morning. All right, we've got a peek at the barn. What would it cost to rebuild that barn today? And I am guessing conservatively between $80,000 and $100,000. You've got irrigation, you've got water, you've got the roof, the stalls, the metal, the gates, the tack room, the covered area where the horses' runs are. So my guess here is we have about $140,000 to $150,000 just in this area alone of value. That's not measuring the irrigation of the land, the fencing of the land, the irrigation access to NID, the drainage, the retaining walls, the all of those extras that add into the value of a home in the country. So keep that in mind when you're looking on Zillow and Realtor.com, that all of these extras influence the price of the property, and you will see that price per square foot doesn't mean anything. I'm CJ Jenkins from Century 21 Cornerstone, right here in North Auburn. If you have any questions about country property, about barns and workshops, and how to value country property, give me a call at 530-906-4715. Thanks for joining us.